Okay. Supply and demand. And you want to write this down. I didn't tell you the full story in September. No, I didn't. Supply and demand tells the story of a purchase and sale privately made between a buyer and a seller. But that's not the whole story. Let's pretend that this afternoon, I decided to purchase a pack of Marlboro cigarettes from the Marlboro man. I decide it's okay for me to spend $8 for a pack of cigarettes. Then I come in this afternoon, I light up a cig, and everybody starts getting secondhand. You breathe in, and you're like, wait, I wasn't a part of this decision. This decision was made privately between me and Marlboro. Me and Marlboro decided that for $8, I'd buy a pack of cigarettes. You don't realize this, but over time, the more secondhand smoke you get, you end up having more medical bills, you have more asthma, you need more inhalers and whatnot. So this cost of supplying it is actually higher. And this is called the marginal social cost, whereas the supply curve is just the marginal private cost. Here's another example. You buy a thing of paint, and some paint company decides, okay, here's how much we're going to sell a can of paint for, $35, and you're going to buy that much paint. And then like all the runoff from like the excess paint garbage, they just throw in the river. Well, there's a cost for everybody else to clean that up. So the private cost between you and a company and the benefit that you get privately is different than the cost to society. When there is a benefit or a cost from a transaction that's not taken on by the buyer or the seller, it's called an externality. And this is an example of a negative externality. So in a perfect world, if there was a negative externality, really there should be less. That says optimal. And how would you do that? Well, it should cost more. So governments intervene. And you know of a lot of things that governments intervene. They could limit production. They could say, this is as much blank as you can produce. This is like cap and trade, the start of cap and trade for like carbon. Every company is only allowed to have 500 units of carbon or whatever the units end up being. More likely though, there's a tax. Cigarette tax, gas tax. And what does the tax do? Well, here's the private cost of producing. And if the government can figure out, how can I increase this with a tax? That would increase the price then that individuals would have to pay.